All right, the Houston Texans have revamped their running back room. We know they brought in Joe Mixon, and we also have a couple of things here. We have hey, a guy that used to be a big part of the running back room, was really solid as a rookie, then all of a sudden dropped off a cliff last year, and that's the one we're going to talk about here, and also the potential replacement of Dameon Pierce in Jawar Jordan. So you see the title, we talked about how the Texans are going to get an unexpected contributor, and Nick Caserio went and he started talking a little bit about his running back, Dameon Pierce, not too long ago. Before we get into that, if you're new to this channel, we're close to 15,000. Please hit that subscribe button. If you've been watching a while, definitely hit that subscribe button. We want to be your go-to source for Texans content. We're Lions fans that love football, and especially teams that the national media ignores, and we feel like the Texans have been one of those teams, even in your own state. So no Cowboys news here, I promise. Please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's talk about our guy, Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce was the darling of the running back class just a couple years ago. He was picked in the 4th round, just around 100 overall, and he really outperformed his selection and became, if he wasn't hurt for the final 4 games of that 2022 season, he would have easily been a 1,000-yard rusher. He was almost a 1,000-yard rusher in just 12 games. He was a great fantasy running back to have. I had him that year, right? And so it was nice to have. But then all of a sudden last year, he fell off a cliff. And I have a lot of reasons why I think that could be. But the question is what is the plan for him going forward? All right? And so Nick Caserio was on Sports Radio 610, and he talked about the big thing right now is to be in good condition, which he is. And then he said, watching him move on the field, he looks pretty good. Everybody's looking forward to the opportunity in front of them. You can't worry about what's happened in the past. He's got as good an attitude as anyone on the team. That's a big deal. He said, we're glad DP is here. He's going to be a big, big part of what we're doing. He's working his butt off so far, which is great to see. All right, so here's basically what I took it as. He's a guy that had a great rookie year, got hurt. Maybe he didn't put the work in that he needed to get his body back where it needed to be, that he wasn't in the shape that he needed to be in, and then he fell off a cliff and really struggled that following year. If you look at him each year, I'll just give you some stats here, all right? Last year, he had 145 carries for 416 yards, 2.9 yards per attempt. Now, this team got rolling in the last 6 weeks of the season when Devin Singletary took over and was the main back. I'm telling you right now, Dameon Pierce would have gotten more too. And I'm going to talk about this system for a second. I've talked about this system in the past. This is when you look at anybody who instills this offense, the Shanahan tree offense, year 1 running the football, it progressively gets better, but year 1 is always the worst year. It's like the running backs, the offensive line, the quarterback. Everybody has to figure this out, this new running system. And then once it goes, it goes. On average, running backs or teams' average yards per rush goes up over half a yard per carry from year 1 to year 2. And it also goes up about half a yard during year 1. So when you look at Pierce this year, it was not good. But let's go back to what he's capable of in 2022. All right, not only do you see good grades, but on 220 carries as a rookie, almost 1,000 yards, good enough for 4.3 yards per attempt on a bad offense. That was not a good offense. That was a Davis Mills led offense, and that's no knock against him. It just wasn't a good offense. It wasn't a creative offense. You didn't have to worry about throwing the ball downfield. So if you can average 4.3 yards per carry in that, what can you do now that you have an offense where you have to respect the deep ball with Diggs and Collins and Dell and CJ Stroud's right arm? Like, that's a big difference. We know that he has the athletic profile to make it okay. He's never been remarkable, right? He's always been a middle-of-the-pack athlete kind of guy. Maybe close to top third, right? Close to top third. He's a 4.6 guy, which, whatever. It's a running back. That's fast enough for a running back. That's honestly, better than half the running backs out there. All right? He's not tall, but he has good weight to him at 218. He's strong. I mean, just look at the guy, right? So he can do all these things, and he's proven that he can do it. So everybody just is kind of writing him off. Oh, we got Joe Mixon and all this kind of stuff. Joe Mixon is not going to carry the ball 350 times this year. Like, there is going to be a level of committee approach. That's what the good teams do. The question is, can Dameon Pierce show that he is good enough to be able to get in on that committee and get another 100, 150 carries again this year, but do more with it? Now, here's the next argument. Everybody's going to make the argument, oh yeah, but you went out and you got Jawar Jordan in the 6th round. So he is going to replace Dameon Pierce in the depth chart. Nobody's making the argument that Dare Ogunbowale is going to replace him as the number 2 running back. Ogunbowale is a great special teamer. I made a video on him as well a while back. He's a great special teamer. He's one of those guys that you absolutely want to have on your team, but he's not a number 2 running back for a team. All right, so is Jawar Jordan the number 2 back? All right, let's look at his athletic profile. First off, he didn't even test enough in order to qualify, but when he ran his 40, he basically had the exact same speed as Dameon Pierce, except he has the same athletic profile as speed profile as Dameon Pierce while weighing 25 pounds less. He has the same speed, and when I watch him, I will admit he does kind of fit. What he did at Louisville definitely does fit what the Texans want, which is kind of that one cut, get forward. He's not shifty, Jawar Jordan. All right, he's not shifty. He finds a hole, and he has really good vision, and he finds it. But he's not that big, and he's not that fast. Those aren't guys that are 100 to 150 carry guys in the NFL. They're just not. Not big, not fast. I've seen it. I remember when the Detroit Lions selected Amir Abdullah 10 years ago. All right, he found a way to stick in the NFL as a special teamer, as a returner, but he was never going to be that running back. You have to have size or speed. It's very difficult to have neither. All right, and the contact balance was decent at best. All right, he was a good running back. He was very effective in a bad ACC conference where there was bad defense. So, do I think that Dameon Pierce will have a large role, I think he'll have a similar role, but it'll be much more effective. So it's going to seem like a much larger role. And I think a lot of people didn't think or didn't expect him to have the comeback year this year. I think everything's setting up for it. As long as he comes into camp, well-conditioned, he understands the offense better, right? I think you could absolutely see him start to go off a little bit this year for the Texans. All right, hope you like the content. We're going to be here all summer. We're going to be here all summer covering the Texans all the way up until the regular season and beyond. So stick with us. If you're like me, you love watching football and you love talking football, 365 days a year. All right, so if you're one of those people, keep watching our channel. We want to be your go-to spot for Texans content. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.